Washington State Attorney General warns journalists to stop investigating Somali daycares or face hate crime charges. The Washington State Attorney General released a statement on X Tuesday evening warning independent journalists to stop investigating fraudulent Somali daycare centers or they could be charged with hate crimes. Quote, "My office has received outreach from members of the Somali community after reports of home-based daycare providers being harassed and accused of fraud with little to no fact-checking," State Attorney Nick Brown stated. "We are in touch with the State Department of Children, Youth, and Families regarding the claims being pushed online and the harassment reported by the daycare providers. Showing up on someone's porch, threatening or harassing them isn't an investigation. Neither is filming minors who may be in the home. This is unsafe and potentially dangerous behavior." End quote. Harmet Dillon, the Assistant Attorney General for Civil Rights in the U.S., issued a warning of her own in reaction to the Washington State AG's post. Quote, "Any state official who chills or threatens to chill a journalist's First Amendment right will have some explaining to do," she wrote on X Wednesday morning. She continued, "The Department of Justice Civil Rights Division takes potential violations of 18 U.S.C. 242 seriously," Dillon added. The statute, known as the Deprivation of Rights under color of law, makes it a crime for any person acting under the pretense of law to willfully deprive another individual of rights, privileges, or immunities secured by the Constitution or laws of the United States. The clash of the Attorney Generals came after YouTuber Nick Shirley exposed about a dozen Somalia-owned state-funded childcare facilities in Minneapolis, Minnesota, that appeared to be completely deserted. Shirley produced a 42-minute video, which has been viewed over 131 million times on X since it was posted on December 26, alleging that Minnesota Governor Tim Walz knew about the fraud but never reported it. Inspired by Shirley's bombshell report, citizen journalists in multiple states with large Somali populations have launched their own investigations in recent days. In the Kent, Washington area Tuesday, YouTuber Chris Sims, a self-described gonzo journalist, visited 7 suspicious Somali daycare sites and reported that they were very unhappy to see him. Sims posted a video of him approaching a private home listed as a child care facility that appeared to be not as advertised. There was no signs of kids or no sign of being a daycare facility, Sims wrote. Quote, "I was told by a few of them that they weren't daycares despite receiving taxpayers' dollars. One yelled, 'Go ahead and call the police on me,' from behind the door." On Monday, independent journalists Jonathan Cho and Cam Higby visited an alleged Somali daycare facility in Seattle, Washington that receives hundreds of thousands in taxpayer funds, and the person who answered the door said that there was no daycare there in the past or present. Higsby said, "Dagash Child Care has received over $210,000 just this year alone." Another listed child care facility, a house in a residential neighborhood in Kent, Washington, has received over $863,000 since 2023, according to Higby. "Residents say there is no daycare here," the journalist said. And that is true. I saw the entire report. Another reporter reported on potential fraud in the Rainier Vista neighborhood of Seattle on December 29th and faced hostile reactions from the Somali residents who called the police on him. In his statement, the Washington State Attorney General encouraged members of the Somali community experiencing threats or harassment to call the police or his office and hate crimes and bias incidents hotlines or report it to the state's hate crime website. Addressing the independent journalists, Brown added, quote, "If you think fraud is occurring, there are appropriate measures to report and investigate this. Go to DCYF's website to learn more. Where fraud is substantiated and verified by law enforcement and regulatory agencies, people should be held accountable," he finished. The post-millennials Andy Negro responded to Brown's threat on X, saying, "It's the duty of journalists to visit taxpayer-funded nonprofits and businesses to investigate where you have failed. The journalists have documented their visits on camera, and there is no harassing or threatening behavior happening. You are trying to threaten journalists by telling people to call police with false allegations of hate crimes?" As you can see, another piece of work out of Washington State, folks. I was able to watch all three of these videos that he's referencing, and they all went to homes in residential areas that had zero signs of being a daycare. These were residential homes with one person at home, i.e. the wife, and they were sucking up hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars of taxpayers' money, claiming to be daycares. It's a big scam, and he's being scammed, and he doesn't give a shit where your tax dollars are going, right? As long as he's got that expense account and fancy suit. Typical Washington State official, period. Another blue state in action. Again, I watched all three of the videos, and there were zero signs of any of these homes being daycares. They weren't even buildings. They were quote-unquote home daycare centers. And let me tell you, the kind of money that the federal government is throwing at these Somalian home daycare centers is beyond ridiculous, in my opinion. It's scary that there can be such incompetence in the U.S. government and the state governments, for that matter. Please share, subscribe, and always remember, anything's possible. Bizarro world.